Good morning, good morning. Welcome to a new week on the charts. We'll be doing breakdown analysis, just sharing my ideas of how I'm interpreting the charts. So, all right, here we go. We'll start with a recap of last week, and then we'll jump into what we can expect maybe for this week or for today going forward. So last week we had a strong push. Okay, so Monday and Tuesday price just continued bearish, and on Wednesday I was saying we're expecting we could expect rather a midweek reversal based on weekly profiles. And as we can see, Wednesday, that's when the market shifted from this bearish trend or this bearish push, and then shifted into this retracement. So this could continue until it mitigates either the EQ of this lag, or as we can see, when you just consider this whole supply range, price has already mitigated the supply range, so it could start to continue bearish, possibly to mitigate this daily swing demand, or rather this daily demand area right at the bottom here at the extreme. So that's a possibility. Or price could continue until it mitigates this daily POI as well, supply, which is in the premium. So for now, price is kind of in the middle, and there's no structure on the daily really to rely on. So there's not much going on at the moment. And then what we then looked at as well was on the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, this would have been a nice area to look to go long if price had pulled back in after we had a change of character on the 4-hour. And then price, as we can see, price continued, made another supply POI, which didn't look quite as strong, but it held price. So price pushed out, came back, and then made an even bigger and a more aggressive push. So now we have this new supply area now that has been mitigated, and price is still price pushed up, but now price is looking like it's coming back down into that supply again. But all the areas on the left, previous supply areas, as you can see that they were eliminated. Okay, all supply areas on the left were eliminated. I did mention that there was a supply area down on the 1-hour around this area, which say didn't look as strong, and price just blasted through it. And then this one would have been a decent one, given that these areas were likely to be liquidated. Okay, so this could have been an area where price would mitigate and then kind of give us a reaction like it did for a quick 1 to 2, or rather for a quick 2 to 1 profit. However, this one did not hold as well. Price blasted through it again. So if we look at the 1-hour, this was the last unmitigated supply in the extreme of that 4-hour range. Okay, and we can see price just blasted through it, but really struggled to close above, and then eventually did. But soon after doing that, we've had this strong bearish candle closing back down again, and then we've had this aggressive move down. Okay, so right now price is kind of reacting over here. Okay, So that's kind of a recap of what we're looking at last week. So now looking at the charts, rather at the news. So we'll switch to Forex Factory. So we're looking at news for this week. So as we can see, government shutdown in the US seems to be continuing. Okay, so most of the high impact news events, we can see that they're still tentative. So what that means is there is a high likelihood that they may not be reported. Okay, so the high impact news were going to be on Thursday with the CPI in the US. So Thursday really was when there was going to be significantly high impact news, and then that would probably set the tone for Friday. But as it stands, looks like we may not get that news report. So Monday today, there's no news. Usually Monday is a no news day, so price will either just be ranging or going sideways. Price will not really move usually on a Monday, so we'll wait and see. And then Tuesday, tomorrow, there is nothing in the US. And then we have something in the UK for the pound. Okay, that's at 7, but we're not looking at the pound, so pretty much we do not have any news until Thursday, if the CPI report will be done. If it's not done, then pretty much it means that there is no news the whole of the week. Okay, so that's kind of a look at the news. So let's go back to the charts and see what we can expect for this week then. Okay, so coming back to the daily. So we'll start with the general market structure. So we said, as we can see from what I've marked up, daily is in an uptrend. However, currently it's bearish because it's in a pullback phase. So we're having a pullback phase of this uptrend. So in this pullback phase, the internal structure is what is giving us lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So this is what's giving us the internal trend on the daily, which is bearish at the moment. So because the internal trend is bearish, our focus is on bearish trades. Our focus will be on bearish trade. So we have this supply, POI, that's unmitigated. All right. That's the only one we have currently on the daily. This one, prior to it, as you can see, it was already mitigated on, so price did push down, mitigate, and then had this strong push. So this is the unmitigated supply at the extreme of the internal range currently. So price has already mitigated the supply range if we're just looking from this area. So all of this is the supply range. So as you can see, price has mitigated supply range and is reacting. Okay, however, I'm gonna keep the pivot right there. So price could be reacting right now and pushing all the way down. All right, so price could continue to go down. Let's see, price could continue to push down, at least maybe to mitigate this extreme demand. Okay, that has not been mitigated, so price could do that. Or this could just be a pullback on a Monday, just ranging, creating a pause in the market for price to then continue towards this. So price could range today, like this could be the size of the candle for the day and not have anything really going on. And then maybe starting tomorrow, then we can kind of see a bit of movement. So at the moment on the daily, price is in the middle of the range, so there's nothing we can focus on. All right, so either we are waiting for price to push up to mitigate this extreme supply that's unmitigated, or to push down to mitigate this extreme demand. Okay, right now it's in the middle of the range. So this is our weak internal low. This is our weak internal low. So daily internal, that's weak. So because it's weak, the expectation is that price will drop and we'll take this out. Okay, so let's move on to the 4-hour, see a bit more details. So on the 4-hour, price did not mitigate, did not reach even this 4-hour POI. So let's start with the 4-hour structure as well. So the swing structure for the 4-hour is pretty much the same as the swing structure on the daily. Okay, this was the last break of structure to the upside, which made this the low that led to the break of that structure, the lowest low that led to the break of swing structure. So it's pretty much the same as that on the daily. So internal structure on the 4-hour is the way it is. So we had a push up, and then from this point onwards, this was the highest high that then led to the break of the structure right there, this candle. So very strong push down. So this is the unmitigated extreme on the 4-hour. So unmitigated extreme on the 4-hour, and then everything else here has been mitigated. So this is another POI that has not been mitigated, where price could have reached and mitigate before pushing down, but that has not happened. We are still in the discount of this internal range. Okay, so this is our internal swing high, and then this is our internal swing low, which is weak. So expectation is that price is going to run this weak swing low if we are to continue being bearish, or at least continue bearish until we mitigate this daily demand zone. So just looking at the nearest POIs, so just looking at the nearest POIs, so we do have this for our demand. It's already been mitigated. Price reacted. Price could start pushing down. We could say that this area was swept. Okay, that this supply zone, this was a liquidation. Prices pushed up, liquidated, and then it's coming back down. But at the moment, this demand is still holding, so probably need to wait until this demand is eliminated. So once this demand is eliminated, then we can say supply is now in control. So as it stands, demand is still in control. Demand is still in control. But we do not have any clear structure to work with at the moment. So if we look at the 1 hour, on the 1 hour, so let's clear all the previous zones which were eliminated. All right, this was the demand that held. It's still holding. So on the 1 hour, this is the current structure I have. So when that swing was broken, so we did an update. So this becomes a swing high. That's my swing high, which makes this my swing, now swing low. 1 hour in swing, 1 hour swing low, which is weak. All right. And then since then, we've had internal structure, internal break, internal break, internal break, internal break. And then another internal break right there. So I could move that. Internal break of structure, bullish. Okay, remove that. So whilst this is a weak swing, it is a strong it is the internal is strong. So this is a weak swing low, but a strong internal low. Okay, why? Because it led to the break of structure. We have this internal break of structure. Okay, so now we can eliminate or delete all these previous supply areas which have failed. They are no longer of concern to us. So this was the initial break, and then we have another minor break of structure right there. Okay, so now I can remove that. So in the meantime, what that means is we can then have this as my current internal strong low. Okay, as my current internal strong range, and then going to have that, and I'm going to have that as my weak internal high. So because of that, that is the 1 hour POI. Doesn't control, as you can see, it's just been mitigated, and price is kind of pushing up. Okay, so but it's not really clear or strong, right? But what we do know is at the moment demand is still in control. So we have a 4-hour POI, demand is still in control. There's possibility price could continue until it mitigates this POI right there. But as it stands, price is bullish. Price is bullish and will continue to be bullish. So that's the analysis for today. This would have been a nice area to look at, although it wasn't well formed. So we are just waiting and looking at this area. So as it stands, this is it. But all the same, thank you for watching. This is my analysis. This is me learning, or rather working on my system, making sure that I improve myself, and focus on my trading system and be consistent. So remember, trading is risky. You trade at your own risk, and you do your best. All right. So have a good day.